Hi, I'm Sung Ray.
I'm something else.
Here, Black Girl Soul, a podcast where we discuss the Asian dramas we love from a Black female perspective. We are looking to be entertained, to learn about other cultures, and share our passion for these shows. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. This is Black Girl Soul. I am something else, and
Song Ray.
so we are back with a new drama, new opinions, new things we like and dislike about the show Law School. Law School is
Yay.
a Law School is a JTBC drama that aired on Netflix Wednesdays and Thursdays from April 14th to June 9th with a total of 16 episodes. It's a legal drama set at Hanguk. I hope I'm saying that right, y'all. Hanguk University Law School. This drama mystery is about first year students who work to solve a beloved professor's murder and exonerate the unpopular professor who is accused of the crime. In between the courtroom dramas and intrigue, we learn more about each student and watch as their secrets also surface. Tell us more about the actors, Sungray.
Yes, so in law school, we have a lot of heavy hitters. So we'll just start off with Kim Young Min. Again, friends for names. Y'all know how we do. I'm going to do my best, but if it ain't right, please forgive me and help me out if you can. You can easily send us a message and I'll gladly read it and try and make corrections. But any which way, he was in the dramas The Miracle We Met and Closer to Heaven. He is the lawyer teacher, Yang Jong Hyun, who they affectionately call Yocrates. That's who he was. And so then we have Lee Jung Un, who was in Parasite. She was the maid, if I'm not mistaken, in Parasite. She was also in The Light in Your Eyes, When the Camellia Blooms, and Once Again. Y'all, her list was long. She had a whole lot of drama she was in, but I picked the ones that she got awards for because that was just easier. Next we have Kim Bum. Kim Bum was in Boys Over Flowers, The Winter the Wind Blows,
Yay!
Tilla the Nine-Tailed. We have Rue or Ru? Yeah, I don't know. Ru Hai Young. She was in Reply 1988 as the sister, Harry's sister. Um, Lee Soo Kyung was in Reply 1988 as well, Where the Stars Land, and Mr. Zoo, the missing VIP. That's a movie. David Lee, he was in Goo Family Book, Save Me, Hotel de Luna, and Itaewon Class. I did not remember him in Itaewon Class. Something else had to tell me, yeah, I remember him being in there. Was there someone else? I'm like, yeah, no, I don't even remember him being in the drama. So yeah, that was one of our faves. And finally, Ang Ne Sung, who was in 18 Again, Dodo So So La La Soul, Secret Real Agent Mouse. But y'all, this is an aside, but I just cannot help myself right here. This dude was in 9 dramas this year alone. When I tell you he's a working son of a gun, he is a working son of a gun. 9 dramas this year. That blew
Yeah,
my mind.
and when we were talking about it, I was like, he is the Samuel L. Jackson of South Korea because because he about to make that check, right? Does he owe somebody money? Does he have loan
Man,
sharks nipping at his heels? Because he stayed working, right? He stayed.
I
I bet
mean,
he's in hallways like, can I get a job? Can I get a job? Like, what is up, dude?
everywhere
He'll
he is.
see his
Like
family. No
his
disrespect, but he'll see his
list.
family.
Man, his list was long. Movies, dramas, TV series. He was in a lot of stuff. Like I was blown away. Like I don't even know what to pick out of this. So I'm gonna just go with the new stuff because the list is long.
And before you all say, well, you know what, maybe he filmed it earlier and it's just hitting in 2021. Yes, true. But that meant he did that he did a lot of work before. He
Mm-hmm.
was busy before. He stays stacking up some dramas so that they can hit now. Think about what he's doing right now so that next year we're like, oh, he's doing 15 dramas. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. Sorry
And
to interrupt.
seriously,
Go
if we
on.
even no, you're good because if we went into 2020, that list was long. So again, we just
Mm.
talking January to July now of the stuff that he's in. Don't let's not talk about 2020 because that list was long too. Again, that man is a working son of a good. The director for this drama was Kim Sung Yoon, who also directed The Light in Your Eyes and Listen to Love. And then the writer was Seoin, who also did screenwriting for Judge versus Judge. If you've ever heard or seen that, I had never heard of it. But those were our key players in the cast and writers and directors.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you from Get, if I were to rate this thing, um, I would give it like a solid B plus. May I don't want to give it an A for reasons that we will discuss further, but I'd give it a solid B plus. How about you?
For me, it is going to get a B minus, and we could talk about the why. Like I deal in numbers, so 7.5 is my range that I'm going with in my head. So that's probably like a B minus, I'm gonna guess, because it's in the third. Yeah. Any which way, that's where they're out for me. I like the drama, but then there were some areas where I just had a couple of confusions and got lost. So we can go into the details in a little bit.
And is there anything that you want to like use to whet the appetite of the listeners, like an interesting fact about the show or something that really stood out to you?
So my whet the appetite would be a major plot hole for me. The major plot hole for me would be that every single synopsis we looked at said that they were first year law students. However, I'm trying to understand, was that drama truly over the span of 3 to 4 years? Did they truly go through law school and get jobs in the time span that we watched? Because there were so many jumps back and forth in time. And if you weren't careful, you didn't know if you were in the present or in the past. That was my issue.
Okay. And see, for me, it's like I can believe that pretty much that was just their first year of law school. But and we'll get into it later. But yeah, y'all know she doesn't suspend disbelief. And also I'm allowing for the fact that I don't know how law schools are structured in general, and certainly not in South Korea. Like for all we know, every year they have some kind of mock courtroom type situation for their students. So they're doing it even as freshmen, right? Because when you're in um, when you're in America, I don't know about law school, but like in high school, I don't think freshmen were really doing like mock trial, were they?
I couldn't tell you anything about what the law students were doing, but the mock trial wasn't even my issue. Again, it was the internships. They were going on formal internships, deciding things and running stuff, which would lead you to believe they had something behind them. That's not necessarily first year. But again, we could talk about it later because I totally am not in agreement with that.
Right. And I agree with that point, the point that you just made. Like, you would never expect that they would do full on internships. But then I have to wonder how long those internships were, because think about when we could potentially do internships as freshmen, right? When we're in college. Anyway, we could talk about it later, definitely. So that's the hopefully the first 5 minutes or the intro. And so we are about to spoil the hell out of this show. So if you plan on watching this show, then I hope that you like our ratings. I hope they've interested you and made you want to check out the show, because it is worth checking out. We've both rated them as B's. If they were like D's or F's, then we'd be like, don't go see that crap. But, especially as the rest of you all listening to the show, especially if you've watched it, we will talk about with more depth why this show is something worth seeing. So, now that we have given that spoiler alert, I'll tell you one of the first things that struck me, or we can continue talking talking about how Song Ray is not having it. She's like, first year, my but I but I'll say from get go with King Soul A, because of course, for those of us who watched it, we know there's a King Soul A and a King Soul B. Like the way you have like multiple Jennifers in a class, you have to like name, make them Jennifer by their last name or Jennifer something else. Well, there were two King Souls and they were very different. So King Soul A, she didn't have her stuff together. She was messed up. And unfortunately, she was the lead and got on my last nerve because I'm not expecting you to be like, you know, super geek, super nerdy nerd, even though you're in the land of nerds. But she was poor, or she is poor, barely squeaked into that law school, and then she has the nerve not to study. She has the nerve to be like lackadaisical about this great opportunity she has. It just threw me off. I was just like, I mean, I could understand if she wasn't perfect, but then I would have expected her to be earnest, because we've seen plenty of dramas where, for example, the female lead, or in some cases the male lead, will not have all their ducks in a row, but they trying, they working hard. This chick, nah. She found everything to do but her homework. It was getting on my last nerve. And then she was just, she just, her whole personality, like she was belligerent. And I'm like, what you have to be belligerent about? Like you just, it got on my nerves. I mean, because she's supposed to represent, like, she was in juvie and stuff. If you see her as like a hood chick, or she's, kind of hard nosed, maybe, but how you gonna want to go to school and then not want to go to school? I don't get it. Songray?
So for me, she wasn't really an issue. I didn't trip off of her for too much. The one thing I did trip off of, so as we all know, and again we're past the spoiler portion. So Sola has a twin sister, and they tell us this in like early readings about the drama and early information that you get. So I automatically assume Kang So B, because I'm going, they have the same name. Yeah, Kang Sola, Kang So B, till later we get to meet the family and realize, oh, hell, they're nowhere near related. But initially, I thought they were sisters and they even shared a dorm room. Like, it was just weird as hell. Like, why did they put them together in such a
Mm,
manner? I was trying to figure that part out. Like, what was the point of locking these two together, making them roommates and making them, other than showing the contrast in personalities, as you stated, like she's the damn opposite of Kong So B. So I don't understand it. I couldn't quite put my finger on that.
and I can understand having them, that contrast being, um like they each stand out more by standing next to each other, like, because King Soul B, like she was some kind of no personality having chick. Like you understand as time goes on why she's like a dud, like she cold. I mean, until we actually meet Kang Dan, who is Kang Soul A's sister, until we meet her, or at least the version of her that we are exposed to, I didn't know Cold until we saw King Soul A's real sister. Then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, because you King Soul B seemed all cold blooded, and King Soul A, she didn't give a damn. She just let it roll off of her, and I was like, this chick has been throwing you all kinds of shade, calling you dumb, like just
Man.
feeling, like expressing major disdain towards King Soul A. But then when you realize that she grew up with like a sister who's just like this chick, you're like, oh, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense that she didn't care that the woman was cold towards her, and she didn't care. She grew up with someone like that. So, but it took me a while to warm up to King Soul A. It really took like seeing the earnest side of her personality to kind of be like, okay, yeah, you don't go to class, yeah, you look like you ain't about anything, but you fight for folks. Like that was her big virtue. She fought for people. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But what stood out to you as far
Um,
as the characters or the plot?
the other thing that stood out to me was Hanjui. So I hope I just said his name correctly. Was it Hanjui or was it? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It was Junwei. Han Junwei. Him, I liked. I liked his person. I liked his dedication. But what I didn't like, and I guess this was just, part of the show and what they were trying to do, was how they like kind of skewed it toward he's the killer, to no, he's not the killer, he's just a bad nephew, to no, he's really not a bad nephew, to like it was like his person and who he was throughout the show shifted a whole lot. And so I couldn't root for him and be on team Junwei till after we got so far into the drama, and that kind of drove me a little bit batty, because I guess I'm used to the drama settings usually letting you know upfront who your characters are, what their personalities are,
Mm.
and how they flow. Well, with Junwei, you couldn't do that, and so it took me a minute before I could finally fully root for him and feel okay about rooting for him because of how this show was going for me.
Yeah, the show definitely jerked us around. I mean, one of the things I like about the show is that it had some like really stellar cliffhangers, like it had some surprises. That's a definite reason to watch the show. With him, they already established him as incredibly smart.
Hmm.
And I hate to be like this, but sometimes I use if a actor is really well known or popular to determine whether they're really going to let them go down a particular path. Like in American television, if you're watching Law and Order and you see somebody who's like a particularly well-known actor somehow, I'm like, oh, that's the person who did it. Because why would you have that caliber of actor in the drama and not have them be like a central figure, right? So when I looked
Right.
at him, even though he was given all kinds of skeevy asshole from the get-go, I was kind of like, I know you're not gonna be the bad guy. Like, I know you're not gonna be the bad guy. Dude from Boys Over Flowers, you ain't gonna be the bad guy. So the biggest question about him, because they did try to jerk it back and forth. So I knew he was going to be dirty. I knew he was going to do dirty stuff. I didn't think he was going to be a bad guy, because they from get go said he was highly intelligent, he was super smart, like he was that guy. So I was like, if he was going to kill somebody, he'd do it a little bit better than the way it's going down, right? And
Right.
also, my big thing was that initially he looked like he was giving all kinds of attention to King Sol B. So that was what stood out to me. As some of you all saw on Twitter, I was doing all kinds of videos going who he with, who he's gonna be with, who he choosing. Like that was my big interest in him. It wasn't if I thought he was really the killer. I didn't think he was the killer. It was which girl is he gonna choose at the end? Which woman? Hello, woman. Can I not be sexist? Which woman is he going to choose? And at first, he was giving Console B all kinds of play, touching her glasses and stuff, and being all kind of low key South Korean version flirtations. Because if he was an American character, he'd have been like kissing her in hallways and all kinds of stuff. But it's South Korea, so he just took off her glasses and cleaned them and stuff. That was cute. So he was doing that, but then I was like, all of a sudden he was impressed about her. And I was like, I couldn't figure out why. I didn't know if he just thought she was too damn cold or what the deal was. But all of a sudden, because I mean, I knew he started working more closely with Kang So A. Suddenly, he completely switched gears and he was all about Kang So A. And at first, I thought, okay, maybe I'm just reading a romance where there is really no romance. But then Kang So B started noticing that he was checking for Kang So A. So that's when I was like, okay, y'all messing up. Y'all not being clear about the romance. I need the romance to be like clear for me. And that's one of the things we can talk about later, but that's one of the things I did not like about this drama. It didn't deliver when it came to the romance. But go on.
Well, and for me, I think, I hear you on that part, because that's not really what I was looking for. I was
Mm.
okay with them not having any romance in this. My biggest issue and what I think my turn off and why I couldn't make it a solid B and why it's B minus damn near C is because of the time hopping and the jumping, and you couldn't stay focused with anything. So like you're correct. And one of the initial flashbacks, she lies and tells him she's a student at Hankook University when she wasn't, because she hadn't applied yet. And her little sister was with her, and her little sister was, kind of seeing and paying attention to what was going on and trying to be helpful. She gave him the books, and she was like, what'd you give him the books for? You need those because you need to be going. They were her twin. I'm about to say her older sister, her twin's books, and her twin had been a student at Hankook University, which again is a problem for me because how was she a student when B wasn't a student or when A wasn't a student? So like, so Don, so A, they were just, it was all kind of wonky confusion for me, and that was my whole reason for why this drama couldn't be like a B plus A, because it was too confusing, so much so that I stopped. Remember, I stopped watching, and then I came back in because you were like, come on, let's finish it, let's do this one together. And I'm like, okay, let me go back in, I'm gonna try it again. And I went back in, and I'm glad I finished it because honestly it had a good ending. It gave me my closure that I needed. But initially I just kept getting confused, like what the hell, where are we now, who's doing, well, why did he do this, why didn't he do that? Even to the point, y'all, I'm gonna just go and blow it all the way up. We're talking today and planning for the show, and something else says, now who killed the
I'm like forgetting. I'm forgetting. I'm like, wait a
right,
minute. And then when Songray reminded me, I was like, oh yeah. Because it went so all over the place. Girl, I mean, I was about to say girl, like it could be boys too. Girls and boys, men and women out there listening. It got so confusing. At one point, they are busted a hacker ring. Like I was like, I know why they
right.
doing it and how it's going down, but everything's happening in the show.
So yes,
Sorry
it
for
was just, I
interrupting.
think,
Go on,
no,
go
you're
on.
fine, totally, because I wanted you to jump in because I'm like, I didn't want to blow you all the way out, but I'm like, we this show was confusing. It was good, but it was a confusion. And so, something else that we had talked about on Twitter early on when this first came out was I had a few people asking, hey, and I think me and Vesper Tame, who's on Twitter, talked about this. Vest, because it just makes life easier so I don't mess her name up. Vest. We're talking, and she was saying, how the parallels to How to Get Away with Murder, which is an American TV show, how this show
Mhm.
really paralleled it a whole lot. And I'm totally having to agree with her. It did, like to the point where I was almost like, they not doing no copywriting, right? Because y'all look like this show is damn near a pull from an episode of How to Get Away with Murder. So I don't know.
Well, only because like they totally gave me How to Get Away with Murder, so that's why I did the whole like image or whatever. But I didn't really watch How to Get Away with Murder like all that, so I didn't know if it was very similar or not at all. It was just like it just, young people in law school with a charismatic teacher. It lent itself to How to Get Away with Murder. So, but yeah, I think I had a point and I forgot it, and I have notes, and but we always just talk off the cuff too.
All over the
I
place.
mean,
Yes.
one of the one of the major elements, because they didn't just give us the main drama. It's like they gave us the main drama and then they did this what I consider to be great writing and genius writing, which was now let's go underneath the main mystery of who killed the professor and if the other professor is going to be charged with the crime, and let's give you some other courtroom drama. So let's give you I mean, mind you, how you gonna put all these students together in the same study group and they all have all kinds of drama and trauma? How you gonna do that? That don't make no sense. It's only on television, right? But you got a Sejul not who, played by David Lee, who was trying to get justice for his father, right? The villain in his story just so happens to be the villain that they ultimately go after, right? Then
Right.
you have Joe's Yi Sul, who is this woman in the group. She's considered, I guess, to be really pretty in the group. And she has this boyfriend who's abusing her.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the boyfriend is the son of the villain, like, so some stuff was kind of like super obvious and super TV-ish. And some stuff was great because then you got to swerve off for a while and deal with other dramas, other bits and pieces. You know, there's at one point, I'm not saying her name correctly, so I'm gonna what kind of nickname can we give her? Um Cute girlfriend, I don't know. But the girlfriend basically has to defend herself after her boyfriend goes a bit too far, and she kind of inadvertently defends herself, and then he gets hurt, and he's a pure bit of evil. But guess who his daddy is? The ultimate villain himself. So she has to defend herself. So that's an interesting element. That's an interesting plot diversion for a while to look at. Then you have the one guy who started hacking, and that one just threw me off. Like, I didn't even understand why that was there. That one was confusing.
His name is Sung Jae. I would say for him, the reason why is that it was what he was always doing. Like, I think if we were to do a back on him, you catch that he was always hacking. He was always handling his business and doing what he needed to do because he had come from this position of being a doctor to now he wants to shift over to being a lawyer. So that was what he was doing to help himself. I can go back and look at their old tests and see what I need to see and know what kind of questions they're going to ask, and that just makes my life easier. I'm learning the information, but it is what it is. He got caught. That's where he fucked up. He got caught.
Well, no, but that's my thing. I don't understand, other than him potentially being able to, or actually helping them with the case a little bit. I just didn't understand why he existed.
And
Like,
that was
why was he
all the total reason why, because he was the one player who was in
right?
place to completely clear Yocrates. That was why.
Right. But it got on my nerves because I was just like, you gonna tell me a full-fledged doctor is gonna turn around and decide he wants to be a lawyer, but then he gonna go and cheat. Unless he was cheating to become a doctor. I'm like, damn, son, like, did it take all that? Like, you already have brains. Do you have to be a cheateration? Like, you have to do all that? You have to be a cheater. So it just threw me off. And then you have the comic relief when you have like who I'm calling Tweedledum and Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or you could call Larry and Curly. One has long curly hair, the other one, because like they were the background folks. Like, I don't think they had anything particularly strong about them. They were just, great to round off the cast, I guess.
Yeah, and the one was just the asshole to be an asshole. Yi Bom was an asshole on every front that he could be. He was always the quote unquote devil's advocate, which led him to, things just sounded a little off. And then for Boki, Bok Key, he was the one who liked Yisul, which was pretty girlfriend or cute girlfriend, whatever you're calling her. He was the one who liked her, and so he was the gaslight for her having empowerment and moving forward and feeling she could do this. I don't know. Like you said, they were round off characters, didn't really mean much, didn't really do much, but yeah, I guess you kind of needed them for it to not be flat.
Right. And they kind of tried to introduce different ideas, like we were talking about, of course, general criminality, but um domestic violence or dating violence, if you will.
Yeah.
I
And
particularly, like, in a weird kind of way, I liked King Soleil's mother and sister, younger sister, way more than I liked her, because they had personality for years. They were interesting to me as characters. The mother who ends up on the jury, and she gave me all kinds of
she
life
was
and
fucking
hilarity.
hilarious.
She
Yes,
was
ma'am. She
hilarious.
was hilarious.
And
Now,
then the
let's
sister,
bag it up to the sister though before we go too deep. Okay,
okay.
so Iman Ho, who was the jailbird who lived next door with the tracker on his leg.
Hmm.
I'm a little bit confused still because I just am. why was he initially like being predatory towards the little sister if he was not the person who had done whatever? And why did the sister think he was? Like, I'm confused. Was he officially a child predator? And if
Yes.
so, okay, so here's my issue. Why in the fuck was he allowed to live there? Is the law in Korea that loose?
Because they were in the hood.
Oh, that's not okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Because that to me should have been one of the reasons why he was easily able to be like arrested when they were trying to get him in the beginning and they couldn't find anything to catch him on. You're a child predator living within 200 feet of the person who you preyed upon. Like, I don't understand that. But go ahead. Sorry. That again,
Okay.
suspension of disbelief. You know me. Moving on.
Yeah. So no, I totally agree with you. If we were in America with America's laws and regulations, I'd be like, yeah, you need to make a phone call and get his ass gone. But when you look at the space, you realize they are in the hood. Like I had to translate. That's what I'm saying with King Soul. I had to translate that she was that hood chick. She was that juvenile delinquent. She was that bad egg who was trying to in her own way make good. So when you translate that a bit and you realize they lived in the hood, like for real, I understand that like South Korea is supposed to be like, safer than America in some ways, and that their children tend to wander a bit. But I'm like, damn, if every one of y'all know that a full on child molester is living right next to you, how are you not on pins and needles constantly? And so that's why when dude put up the cameras, I was like, thank you. It's about time someone did something right because it didn't make any damn sense to me. Granted, that may have also been done so that you would further the plot later, but yeah, I understand why you were confused by it. But the whole reason that first dude got hit was because he saw that dude was for real a child molester, or not maybe a child. He was molesting somebody. Yeah, it was a girl. So yeah, he was definitely a molester of some kind.
And that's why I said child predator, because I'm like, I'm not sure what exactly, but I know he kept like being real creepy and like towards the sister. And I'm going, nah, what is your problem? What is you doing?
And
Like, it was too much for me.
I'm trying to remember because I don't think he had any kind of connection with Kang Soul's twin sister. So it's not like he moved to that part of town to be next to them, right? It yet again one of those TV coincidences, where
But
he just so
honestly,
happens to.
no, I thought he did go over there purposefully because of the little sister. Because remember, he had met her before moving over there. At that, they were like outside of some kind of something. The little sister picked up a paper and saw him and was like, he's that guy. And he was like right there. And the next thing you know, he moved in next door to them.
So he decided to move next to the chick who happened to recognize him.
Again, it doesn't make sense. I told you, suspension of disbelief. I'm gonna let it all go so that I can move forward. But just for me, I needed to know like what the hell is this with this dude? Because the bitch even set his ass up so he was sitting and could look down into their damn apartment. Like,
Oh yeah, it was
dude.
crazy. It was crazy. They were living impoverished and he was living straight up like in the gutter. Like the difference between the two buildings was he was a mess. He was a mess.
His building look abandoned shit.
Right, right. It was a mess. And then I was like, and you trying to get in touch with your son? I think you need to think again, sir. That's called crazy. That's called you're not in your right damn mind. Your son is living his best life so far away that you don't even know how to find him. And you want to go find him and mess up his world, stink up his good thing? No. That's why I understood how it went down. Because I was like, yeah, you need to keep them as far apart as possible. And okay, let's give the MVP award. Am I saying that correctly? I'm tripping. You know I
MVP,
don't know
yeah.
about sports. MVP award to the female professor, Kim In Un Suk. She gave me life. Aside from Kangsul's mother and younger sister, it was the female professor who had me cracking up because she was playing two sides. She was like doing all this like two-face, I'm friends with the villain, but here's the paperwork so that you can get this right. Having conversations with the students. Now, this is how you have to go into the court case. And then she turned around and she's like, and she's talking next to him. And the villain really thought she was on his side. I was
Yeah, he
like,
did with
chick,
his dumb
how are
ass.
you doing this? What kind of brilliance are you? Do you remember her?
Yeah, she's the one I
Of
told you
course.
was in Parasite.
Of course. Yes. But I mean her character.
Oh, definitely. Because like I just said, she had Assemblyman Cool confused.com because he did think she was truly on his side. And I was like, dude, what is your problem? And then for her, I at one point was like, is she really helping or is she like, what is she trying to
I think at
grow
one
her
point she
own
did
thing?
kind of betray them, or she did
She
something.
did. She did because that's it made me wonder, is she trying to like step herself up on the ladder for herself or what is she doing? I'm a little confused here.
Yeah, but she was brilliant. And I especially love like in the final episodes, if not the final episode, she had me super dead when she made that Lady of Justice pose. Like when I think one of the
Yes.
students realized, oh, you were the mastermind behind all of this. And she was like, you didn't know? And I was like, chick, it's all yours. It's all yours. She was funny. So anything
She
else you noticed
was.
about it?
No, overall I think we've touched on most everything that was an issue for me. Characters, actors. I think the casting was done well. I think each character played their role, did their part. They were interesting to me. I liked the way they, did what they were supposed to be doing at those times. So overall, yeah, I enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it's, you know, how do I say this? So with TV shows, and I especially notice it with movies, when you're in the movie, when you're in the show, it's like it's all hyped up. I'm a fiend. That's how I felt with this show. Like truly, you guys. And now it's like I still enjoy the show. I would still recommend the show, but it's not like I have that urgent love of the show the way that I did when I was watching it. And I think it's because of the psychology of binge watching, or either it's some of it is like these South Korean dramas. Like let's keep it 100, y'all. They know how to make some good crack. Like they they know how to make some good crack. Okay, like they be straight putting in effort. I don't know their powder to cocaine ratio is, or however you mix that crack, but they good because over and over again, it's like maybe 2 months after a show, I'm like, I like the show, but I was in love with that show. I was in love with that show. And so it's the same with this. Looking back on the show, it's definitely worth a good watch, and giving it an opportunity. It is a lot of How to Get Away with Murder, but I like Law and Order. I like shows like that for the most part. So
I do
to
as
have
well.
something that's 16 episodes instead of like 5 seasons, yeah, I'd rather watch this than watch, bless her, and goodness knows she is talented, snot bubbles and all. But I was so much rather watch this show than watch what's her name? Why am I blanking on her name?
Viola Davis.
Thank you. I would much rather watch this show than watch Viola Davis and Gang and 5 or 6 seasons and have it be drawn out. Like it's like the difference between getting like the quick fix versus I guess the long. Is there such thing as a long fix? I'm rambling, you guys. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
how
don't
drugs
know.
work.
But I am going to also say that I feel like, too, one of the things, because I didn't watch How to Get Away with Murder like totally,
Mm,
I started it off probably 5 episodes, then I was done. And same reasoning, lots of flipping, flopping, moving backwards,
Right.
forward. I'm lost on who's where, what, when, and why. But then my mom during COVID, when COVID first hit, was really into it. So like sometimes in order for me to watch my dramas and them not bother me, I had to watch they shit. So, at the time for her, it was How to Get Away with Murder. So I would watch, catch bits and pieces here. And so I started getting a little bit involved enough. I'm midway in the story. I couldn't tell you what season we were in or any of that. And I'm catching on to how they're moving and the stuff they're doing and how they keep slithering away each and every time from being the one or being the one who did it, or they're moving bodies because like they was involved in some dirty shit, like they was doing foul, moving bodies, burying bodies, and then trying to cover it
Yeah.
all
See,
up
no.
and fix that part. So like what I appreciate about this was, one, it was clean. Like in the story, it was clean. They were not ever truly the people involved in the dirt. They were the ones who might have known something, saw a piece of something, and withheld information, but they weren't the ones actually doing dirty. Like for instance, when Yesu and boyfriend got into it and boyfriend fell out, they easily could have jumped up, moved his body, put him somewhere, like
Right.
they could have taken it that route, but I'm grateful that they didn't. And that they were, I guess, those law students, we really never delve too much into their law schooliness. Here, you got more of the schooliness and what was going on in school and what they were learning in class. There, it was more literally they were involved in these actions, and yeah, it was weird. I don't, I don't,
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
interesting. Oh,
Go
what?
ahead, go. You're fine.
What I was gonna say, you did get some schooliness, like you did get some South Korean law school culture, because when folks would go back to their desks in the library studying, and people would put all these post-it notes trying to clown them and all kinds of shade and abuse. I was like, well, dang, that's just mean. I mean, folks would be like, you need to get out of here. We don't like you. You're messing up our education. Like, just
Well, that
like
was because of the smear campaign Assemblyman Cool's son ran on her. So.
but it happened also with Kang Soul A. Like,
Did
remember,
it?
she got some too.
Oh, I missed that. I might have skipped something.
Right. When they didn't like when the students didn't like a kid, they told them in post-it note. I mean,
She said and posted. No, you a mess.
I mean, in America, someone would have been catching you in the hallway. But and actually that happened too, because remember at one point, I think King Soul A told the chick off and the boyfriend because she hood like that. That's how I had to process it. I'm like, oh, she hood like that. That's how she can act like that, and no one else acts like that. Everyone else thinks about like future careers, and she's like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna tell you about yourself. But yeah, they hit her with some post-it notes.
I missed that part.
Right.
I
So
only
I was
saw it with
like, oh,
Yesul.
hmm?
I only saw it with the girl, with cute girlfriend.
Right. Yeah, they did it to her too, because I think they were like at the time they were doing something. What happened with uh what King Saul did? Was she accused of cheating? Something happened with her. Something went down with her. And they were like, we gonna, post-it note you to Kingdom Come. And we're like pimp slap you with post-it notes. So but no, I think that it's like I was super like addicted all the way through. Like once I really started watching the show, I was addicted. It maybe took me like the second episode, because yeah, when I watched How to Get Away with Murder, I think I watched like two, maybe three shows, and I was like, I don't like these people. Um, this isn't cutting it for me.
And I'm gonna keep it 100 for me as well.
But with this show, it was like two episodes in. I was like, oh, okay, I could watch this. But what kind of lost me, I think the reason why it's like a B and not an A is because the final episode, like I allowed for the fact that Kang Soul and Han Jun E.
Junwi.
Yeah, thank you for that. I knew it wasn't going to be 100% romance, but I thought there'd be some like more light flirtation than just, just friends in arms, right? And so in the final episode, you see them pretty much kind of come back. Like, I'm assuming that this is now well after they've graduated from law school, and they're basically being called into to work a case, and it gives them the opportunity to all walk in unison towards the courtroom so they can get that final shot, right?
And I need you to be very clear. That was not all. That was her, Junwee, and Yakratis.
Right.
That was it. They didn't even get Ijeon in that walk in. Like I was expecting her to at least be part of that. She was vital in my opinion. She was Yakratis' backhand on every angle. So why did they cut her out of that? But yeah, it was just those three walk in. But go ahead.
And I kind of felt like if they didn't give us the romance before, they had a prime opportunity to kind of tell us what happened to these students after. You know what I'm saying? Like they should have been giving us a little bit of each character in that final episode, and they didn't do that. We didn't see, oh, okay, this is where this person ended up, or this is how this person. And then when you see them together, it's not even like, oh, hey, honey, let's win this case. They had no romance. It was nothing. I was like, why'd you even? They're getting on my nerves. Damn it.
And I was gonna say that I could see them like there's a couple of dramas of late where I see where they leave room for a possible if it did really well, we could do a season two, and especially because it's on Netflix. Because like there are some Netflix dramas that are kind of cracking me up because you're like, okay, did you sign an exclusive contract with Netflix? Because you in all the damn dramas that they show. Song Kang, for anybody who don't know what I'm talking about, Song Kang is every fucking where on Netflix, and in Novelera, they left us a no, it wasn't Novelera. Oh shoot, I cannot remember what drama it was, but they left us a little bit of room where I was like, okay, is a season two coming for this? And it was also because they did it for Love Alarm, and season two was some bullshit. But
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Because I finally found my way to Love Alarm, and I was like, okay, I could watch a season two. And then they did a season two, and I was like, what is this? I don't, it's been so long. I don't even know who's who anymore. And I don't care. It was weird.
girl, yeah. And I think that's what's been going on is that they're trying to lull in the concept of season twos. But I'm gonna say right here, right now, I like not having season twos. I like you giving me a clean, like you said, story in 16, 20, 12. 12 is becoming my new number. 12, I could
Shoot.
deal with you just giving me what you're gonna give me, making it good, making it clear. But this drawn out shit, like season twos are for the birds. Let's not do that,
Or,
y'all. Please, if
or do it the
anybody's
Japanese way and
listening,
give us 10. Because they sometimes do
man,
6. They don't give a
they
damn.
will,
They
they
just like, you
will.
going to get the story we give you. I'm like,
Because what's
okay.
that one I just watched Switch? It was 10.
That's what I'm saying. If your writing is crisp and you are true to the characters and you know how to craft everything and put a scene together, we don't need seasons upon seasons. Because trust and believe, marriage featuring love and divorce. Oh, I'm so skimming that. I'm only skimming it so that I can get to the parts with the wife whose husband was a professor and left her for the young thing. That's all I'm watching for. I'm just waiting for her to get with that guy that they all have a crush on at work. That is all I'm trying to watch. I'm not trying to watch that show for real, for real. I am not interested in marriage featuring love and divorce, a second season, if they are giving us more of the same wishy-washy. I get that it is Dallas. It is Falcon Crest. It
Thank
is,
you. Thank
you know,
you. Thank you.
so
That's so
I get it.
helpful.
That's what it is. Once you recognize it for what it is, and I don't know what other shows, it's been so long, I can't remember any of the things you see and repeated, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what the parental figures used to watch. But I understand, like once you understand that it is a nighttime soap opera and it's just about fabulous looking people supposedly just being ratchet or pissed off because someone else is ratchet. Like I'm waiting for them to resolve stuff, and that's not what they're doing. What they are doing, Netflix and whoever the production company, what is that, Studio Dragon, who knows? What they are doing is making a big error because They are disrespecting the audience, those of us who they didn't know existed, that they're just learning about, who've been watching these dramas for a long time. We know what we like. There's a reason we started watching those dramas. And it's not just because it's from a different country, it's because of the formatting too. It's because of what the formatting does for the story, how it makes the story more concise. If you're dragging this crap out, then you're jerking us around. So that's why I'm not trying to watch all that. Now, will I understand a show like Kingdom having a second season? Fine. If you are that freaking stellar, I'm allowing for every once in a while, some show is going to have a second season. But y'all are doing too much now because you taking some shows that should have been 16 episodes and you only giving us 8 so that you can drag it out later. And you know that's wrong.
Have you
Sorry.
been watching Love Featuring Marriage and Divorce this season too?
I've been skimming it.
Okay, I haven't watched not one drop yet because I wanted it to be fully done so I could.
It's not going to be fully
No,
done.
no, no. Oh, really? Oh shit.
The reason I say that, I'm totally
Oh,
pulling that out my ear,
Jesus.
but the reason I don't think it's going to be fully done is Penthouse.
Oh
If they have a
gosh.
Penthouse 3, that's what they're trying to do.
Well, they need to not because again, like I said, I was doing it so I could do just what you said, but skim quickly. Like I didn't want to have to wait to go, oh, what's going to happen here? Because then I'll start digging in. But like I needed to, like you said, I'm trying to find out about the doctor because the doctor is who pissed me off the hardest. I'm also trying to look, we have gone off into a whole nother drama, y'all. We are so sorry, but here we are. The doctors who pissed me off the hardest, and then I also wanted to know about the one who had the bitch wife. Like, no offense, I'm a female, so anybody who wants to try to give me some slack, whatever, but you know.
I'm not telling you much. I'm not telling you anything. When I say this, I watched bits and pieces of the last 2 episodes, like the last current episodes, right? And there was a scene with the bitchy wife when she is sitting in front of her mother and father in law, the side chick, and her husband. And that whole scene was a waste of time. It was her being pissed off. It was the mother and father trying to keep the peace. And it was the side chick, you know, like trying to make herself small and, oh, I'm so sorry this happened. It was a wasted scene. There was no point. If it had been in a Tyler Perry show where they go round and round and round, I wouldn't have been surprised. There was no furthering of the plot or the story. It was just another opportunity
Oh
for the bitchy
Jesus.
wife to be mad. That's not the kind of show I
And
want to
that's
watch.
and that's what I'm getting agitated about because like she had her faults for what they were from beginning and being bitchy was one. She had her faults, but like by the time he officially announced he had done what he had done and he had went off to the left, I needed for her to like let go. Why was she like I wanted her to not hold on to that crazy because girl, you could do better. You ain't got to be bothered with that. If that's what he chose to do and if
She's
you
young, right? She's young, she cute, and she rich. Chick, why you still there? Even if you want to say it's because of ego, you're dragging it out for no reason. I understand it's a different culture, but like you got a whole side chick right there with her own drama happening. Like, no. And that's what I'm saying. When you drag it out or have the same people bumping and conflicting against each other, that's just to keep people eyes on the story. That's not because like I'm the chick who wants to see um each of these women reinvent themselves. Like I'm that chick.
yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
chick who's like I like shows like Run the World. I like shows like the First Wives Club. I like or yeah, the show and the movie First Wives Club or whatever. I want to see them reinvent themselves. I want to see them be brought low and then pull themselves together and then win. And it's taking too long to get to this win. It's wasting my time. So that's why I've been skimming because I was like, well, maybe this looks like One of them is figuring it out. Oh, no, she just mad again. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, like for example, I saw a scene where the wife who had been taking care of her professor husband for all this
Mm-hmm.
time, and then he straight dumps her for
Mm-hmm.
the young girl meets with her and says, hey, I want us to be friends because I'm going to be marrying him, and I want your kids in the wedding, and I
The
want us to
hell?
be Ri- and
Is she out of her?
thank you.
Girl, stop. Okay.
Right. So, in and of itself, am I okay with that scene? Yes, because sometimes you gotta get mad to then get even. Okay. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, let's just see how trifling this chick is, so that we can get to the other side, so I can start seeing the wife win. Right. But if she has two or three or four or five scenes just like that, no, I'm not trying to watch that. That's a waste of my time. Do you know how many other good Asian dramas I could be watching instead of watching this Tyler Perry mess? It might be a very polished Tyler Perry drama. It might be Sisters, but it's the South Korean version of it. We just didn't know. We
Oh,
just didn't know
Jesus.
because we're not used to seeing that, right? We're not used to
No.
recognizing the bits and pieces. If we had seen a wig fall off, we would have been like, oh, that's a Tyler Perry film. We would have known. We would have known. But we didn't know
Oh,
because
Jesus.
everything looked so smooth, and they seduced us and kind of drew us in initially. Let's see. We'll see how it goes. But back to
Because I
law
was about to say,
school,
we need to wrap
just to
up.
end it. Um, I will say yes, the final episode kind of took away any kind of extra points it would have had. I would have loved to have seen all the characters to get some kind of catch up to know where they were going. And like you said, if they do try to leave something open for a next season, I would be interested in watching it. So I won't die if they don't. I mean, I would prefer they not do it, but if they're going to do it, hopefully they use the same writers because the writers were pretty good. How about you, Song Ray?
I'm gonna say that I would be done. I wouldn't go for season two of this. I don't think again that it was badly done. It was just for me because of how it was done and the confusion that I felt upon watching. I wouldn't want to do that to myself a second time. So I wouldn't go in for a season two with this, but I enjoyed the show. I would definitely tell people to watch it because especially if you're into legal dramas, mysteries, figuring out, solving it, the whodunits, this is definitely up your alley, and I think you would really enjoy it. Plus, the cast was stellar. They had the bomb.com's cast in there, and I think they all did a great job doing their. Oh my gosh, how do we forget Mr. Copyright? The copy.
Oh, Lord have mercy with the afro. You are so
Yes,
right.
because
Thank you.
he's
Thank
he's
you. Thank you.
awesome and he's in everything as well. So like they had great actors and people that will definitely see and know, and it just made the drama more fun to watch as opposed to just sticking to one plot and one thing. So I don't know. I would definitely encourage you to watch it. I just personally would not go in for a second season.
Well, there you have it, folks. You know how we talk and how we kind of go around the mulberry bush to get to the end. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. And please, you can always find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can listen to us everywhere, but you can definitely find us Instagram, all of that. If you want to correct us, tell us where we got it right, we got it wrong, where you agreed, where you disagree, please hit us up.
And most in
Otherwise,
particular, I would definitely say please come to www.blackgirlsoul.com and you can
oh
see it
yes,
all, including blog posts
yes,
and
yes.
things
Please
that
come
we're
to our
adding.
website and break it down. Please add some comments because then you'll really stand out for us. We'll be like, oh, okay, we got a comment here. Let's, respond and, chop it up. Anyway, this is Black Girl Soul. I am something else and
Song Ray.
have a good one.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Black Girl Soul. We enjoyed having you, and please subscribe, like, and follow our Facebook page, YouTube channel, Twitter page, Instagram page, and join our Facebook group. You can also find us on Patreon. Please look below for links. See you guys next week.